Kamau walks home after a long day welding metal in the noisy district of Ndaleko. His clothes smell of smoke, his hands feel heavy, and all he wants is to sit quietly, eat a warm meal and rest. He reaches the small house he shares with relatives, already imagining the peaceful corner where he usually keeps his tools. But when he steps closer, he sees a paper stuck to the door. The message is short and cold. Don't come home. For a moment he thinks it must be a mistake, maybe meant for someone else, but his name is written on the back. His heart drops. He looks around confused, hoping someone will open the door and explain. No one comes. The windows stay dark. The silence hurts more than the message. His cousin Rejection, who has always acted like the ruler of the house, is the only person with the power to make such a decision. She gives orders, controls the rooms, and decides who stays or leaves. Kamau knows she can be harsh, but he never imagined she would push him out without saying a single word. He tries to call her name through the door, but there is no reply. It is as if the home he helped maintain has suddenly shut him out of his own life. Kamau stands there with his bag still hanging from his shoulder, unsure of what to do. He thinks of all the nights he came home tired yet still helped fix broken chairs, leaking pipes, and anything the family needed. He thinks of the rent he paid on time, the groceries he bought when money was short, and the respect he tried to show everyone in the house. Yet now he is outside, treated like a stranger. A cold wind passes, making the paper on the door flutter, almost as if mocking him. He takes a slow step back, feeling a mix of disbelief and hurt. The streetlights flicker on, casting long shadows on the road. He wonders where he will sleep, what he will eat, and why Rejection chose such a cruel way to push him away. But as he stands there, something in him refuses to break. He tells himself he will not let this moment destroy him. He has survived long days, hot fires, sharp metal, and constant pressure. He can survive this too. With a deep breath, he turns away from the door, ready to face the night and whatever comes next. Kamau spends the night outside an old bus stop, sitting on the cold cement with his backpack under his head. Cars move past him, their lights flashing across his tired face. People walk by without stopping, some even turning their eyes away as if he is invisible. The night is long, and every hour feels heavier than the one before. His welding gloves lie beside him, the only reminder of the work he has done for years, the work that kept him going. But now he has no room, no bed, no warm plate waiting for him. All he has left is the sharp sting of being pushed out, and the dull ache of trying to understand why. As he watches the street empty little by little, he feels a tight pain in his chest. The silence at the bus stop grows deeper, making him think about every moment that led him here. The betrayal sits inside him like a wound that refuses to close. Still, he does not cry. He does not shout. His spirit refuses to fall apart. The cold air bites his skin, yet he feels something warm rising inside him. Something stubborn, something strong. He pulls his backpack closer and closes his eyes for a moment, trying to steady his breath. Then he whispers softly into the night, as if speaking to himself, as if reminding his own heart not to give up. If I cannot return home, I will build a new one. The words come out shaky, but honest. And once he says them, he feels a strange calm. It is not about walls or roofs. It is about starting again, shaping something better from nothing, the same way he shapes metal at work, slowly, carefully, with fire and courage. The buses stop running, leaving the station quiet. Kamau watches the stars appear above the rooftops, one by one. He feels small, but he also feels awake. He understands that everything he has lost might be the beginning of something unexpected. His hands, though tired, are skilled. His mind, though hurt, is determined. He knows he can create a future with the same strength he uses to weld steel. The night may be rough, but it does not own him. As the first light of dawn touches the sky, he stands up from the bench, ready to move forward, ready to fight for a fresh start. Kamau rents a tiny corner behind a mechanic shop, a narrow dusty space that most people ignore. The ground is uneven, the air smells of oil, and the noise from engines shakes the metal sheets around him. But to him it feels like a beginning. He places his backpack in one corner, his welding gloves in another, and looks at the piles of discarded metal lying around. Scrap pieces, rusted rods, bent sheets, things everyone else has thrown away. He sees not trash, but pieces of a dream waiting to be shaped. He starts picking up the broken parts one by one, studying them the way a builder studies blocks. Slowly, he begins joining them, melting edges, twisting them into place, forming the rough lines of something new. Sparks fly around him as he welds through the heat, sweat rolling down his face. Dust settles on his clothes, and smoke rises every time he joins two stubborn pieces together. Yet he keeps going, his focus sharp, his spirit firm. This little corner becomes his workshop, his shelter, his hope. People walking past stare at him, some stopping just long enough to shake their heads. A few point fingers and laugh loudly. Who builds a house from trash? They say, amused by what they think is foolishness. The mechanics laugh too, hitting each other's shoulders as if it's entertainment. But Kamau does not lift his head. Their voices float around him, but he lets them fade like background noise. He knows their words cannot heat the metal, cannot shape his future, cannot fight his battles. Only he can. Day after day he continues his work. His hands burn, his back aches, and sometimes hunger makes his vision blur. Still, he refuses to stop. Each welded joint feels like a step toward freedom. Each metal sheet added feels like a wall of strength rising around him. He imagines the shelter he will create, small, simple, but his. A place no one can take from him. The laughter behind him grows softer as the structure grows taller. What once looked like piles of useless rubbish now begins to look like a real frame, a real home forming in the dust. Kamau keeps welding, each spark shining like a tiny promise in the air. He knows the world may doubt him, but he also knows something greater. He has already started building not just a house, but a new life. A street vendor named Ndaleko watches Kamau from across the road as she sells fruit and small snacks. Every day she sees him bending over metal, sparks flashing around him. Even when the sun burns strongly, or the wind blows dust into his face, she notices how he never complains, never stops, never reacts to the people who joke about his work. His quiet strength touches her heart. One afternoon, after closing her stall, she walks toward him with a small container of leftover food. She gently places it beside him and says, "You work like someone chasing a dream. Eat, you need strength." Her voice is warm, and Kamau feels a kindness he has not felt in a long time. From that day, she tells the people who come to buy fruit about him. She calls him the man building a dream from metal, and her words spread quickly. Some customers look toward his corner with curiosity, others with respect. The small stories she tells give his effort a life beyond the dusty space behind the shop. Kamau does not know she is speaking about him so proudly, but he starts to notice more eyes watching, not with laughter, but with interest. Slowly, local workers begin to approach him. One man drops off an old door, saying he has no use for it anymore. Another arrives with broken windows stacked in the back of his truck. A builder from the next street brings a bag of unused cement he found in his storeroom. They come quietly, placing things near him without expecting anything in return. Some smile and tell him to keep going. Others simply nod and walk away. Each new item feels like a small piece of support he never asked for but deeply needs. Kamau is surprised by this change. For days he worked alone with only scraps, but now the corner fills with real materials. He feels his chest warm with gratitude. The kindness around him gives his work new energy. He welds with more confidence, more hope, because now it is not only his dream. People have joined him with their gifts. Ndaleko watches this change with a proud smile. She sees how her simple act opened the door for others to help. And Kamau, standing among the donated items, feels something he has not felt since he lost his home. He feels supported, seen, and ready to build even stronger than before. As the metal frame slowly rises into a real structure, Rethabile suddenly shows up at the mechanic shop. He stands with his arms crossed, looking around with a proud smirk as if he owns the place. The moment his eyes land on Kamau welding, he raises his voice so everyone can hear. He laughs loudly, shaking his head, and says cruel things meant to cut deep. He calls Kamau worthless, someone who should remain outside, someone who does not deserve a roof or a family. His words echo through the yard, sharp like broken glass. Kamau pauses for a moment, not because the insults hurt more than before, but because they come from someone he once trusted. Rethabile keeps shouting, pointing at the half-built shelter as if it is a joke. He tells everyone watching that Kamau is wasting his time, that he was thrown out for a reason, that someone like him will never rise. But this time, the scene is different. This time Kamau is not alone. A mechanic steps forward and tells Rethabile to lower his voice. A woman from a nearby shop shakes her head at the cruelty. Sinanlanla comes closer, standing firmly beside Kamau. One by one, people in the area turn their attention toward Rethabile, not with respect, but with disappointment. A man who donated an old window takes a step closer and tells Rethabile he should be ashamed. Another worker reminds him that Kamau has been building something with his bare hands, while Rethabile has only been tearing someone down. Their voices grow stronger, forming a wall of support around Kamau. Someone from the crowd says clearly that Kamau has done more with scraps than Rethabile ever did with comfort and opportunity. Others nod, agreeing without fear. The atmosphere shifts, and suddenly the insults mean nothing. Rethabile realizes he is outnumbered, not by force but by truth. Kamau stands silently, holding his welding mask, watching the crowd defend him without being asked. After years of feeling ignored, this moment feels powerful. His chest tightens with emotion, but he keeps his eyes steady. Rethabile tries to speak again, but the strength of the crowd weakens him. He turns away angrily and walks off, leaving behind a space filled with support instead of doubt. The people remain around Kamau, giving him small words of encouragement before returning to their work. And as he lifts his tools again, he feels lighter. For the first time, he knows he is no longer fighting alone. After months of sweat, burning sparks, long nights, and endless effort, Kamau finally stands before the finished structure he has created with his own hands. What began as scattered scraps has turned into a small but shining steel frame home. The panels are polished until they reflect the sunlight like mirrors. Every corner is shaped with care, every joint welded with patience, every piece placed with pride. At the entrance, he hangs a simple wooden board he carved by hand, the words written neatly and boldly, "House of Hope." When he steps back to look at it, his eyes soften. This is no longer just a shelter. It is a symbol of the journey he survived. People in Ndaleko soon hear about the man who built an entire home from metal pieces others had thrown away. Curious neighbors begin to walk toward the mechanic yard, wanting to see it with their own eyes. What they find surprises them. The little home shines beautifully in the sun, standing strong, neat, and unlike anything they have seen in their community. Word spreads quickly across the district, and by the afternoon, groups gather around the structure, taking pictures, pointing at the details, and whispering in amazement. Local reporters arrive with cameras, moving around the small steel house to capture every angle. They interview the workers who donated materials, the mechanic who first allowed Kamau to use the corner, and even Sinanlanla, who proudly explains how she saw his spirit before anyone else. Kamau becomes the center of attention, though he stands quietly, almost shy, watching people admire the creation he fought for through hardship and humiliation. Soon professional builders and engineers come to examine the work. They run their hands along the panels, study the joints, and look closely at the frame. Their eyes widen as they realize the skill behind the structure. They whisper to each other, surprised by the strength, balance, and creativity in every welded line. They never expect such craftsmanship from someone working alone with limited tools and scraps. Some even admit they could not have imagined turning discarded materials into something so solid and beautiful. Kamau watches all of this with a calm pride. This house, built from pain and determination, now stands as proof that a broken beginning does not decide the ending. His house of hope becomes a story the whole community talks about, a reminder that even from nothing, something powerful can rise. A construction company hears about the steel home and sends their team to see it in person. When they stand inside the tiny structure, they study every weld, every line, every polished panel. They speak quietly among themselves, impressed by how someone with no support created something so solid and professional. By the end of their visit, the company's manager walks up to Kamau with a serious but warm expression. He tells him they want him to join their team, not as a regular worker, but in a senior position where his skills and ideas can lead others. Kamau feels his throat tighten. After everything he has been through, someone finally sees his value without judgment or cruelty. He accepts the offer with deep gratitude, knowing this opportunity will change his life. With his new income, he begins expanding his small home into a larger workshop. The metal walls stretch out, tools fill the shelves, and open space appears where new dreams can grow. But Kamau does not build it just for himself. He invites the young boys from the streets, the ones who often wander with empty hands and hungry eyes. He teaches them how to weld, how to shape metal, how to build something strong from broken pieces. They gather around him every afternoon, learning skills that can give them a future. His workshop becomes a safe place, full of laughter, sparks, and hope. People start calling it the House of Hope Workshop, a place where second chances are shaped like steel. One evening, as the sun lowers behind the rooftops, Rethabile approaches quietly. His shoulders are dropped, his hands tremble, and his eyes avoid Kamau's. He looks nothing like the loud, proud person who once pushed him away. Life has not been kind to him. Money is short, respect is gone, and shame sits heavy on his face. He stands at the entrance of the workshop, waiting, unsure if he even deserves to speak. Kamau steps forward, calm and steady. He remembers the pain, the night at the bus stop, the cold message on the door. Yet he also remembers how far he has come. Kamau looks at him gently and says, "You told me not to come home, so I built a home that welcomes everyone." His voice carries no anger, only truth. Rethabile lowers his head, unable to answer. From that day, the entire district of Ndaleko speaks about Kamau as the man who turned rejection into a foundation strong enough to uplift others. Thank you for watching this powerful story. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more inspiring African tales. See you in the next video.